My first year, I stayed for my 30-day grace period, and I just travelled within Oregon with my camp director and some friends from camp. We went to the Oregon coast. He taught me how to do a lot of stuff at the coast. We went crabbing and clamming out in the ocean and just kind of things like that. I really spent some extra quality time with my host families and went on just more adventures with them. I was so grateful that they were willing to host me, and at my camp we did have a lot of staff that were American, so it was really hard for me to travel because a lot of the Americans were going back to college, but I was very, very grateful that I was able to stay with my host family and do some more stuff, and my camp director went and took me out and to visit more of Oregon. After that, I did go up to Canada, and then I re-entered the USA on a B1, B2 tourist visa. And I travelled from the west coast to the east coast with my mum and my brother who came over to meet me. And my second year I didn't travel at all, I just came straight back. And my third year I did stay for my 30-day grace period, but I just again stayed around Oregon. I really wanted to spend time with my family. As I said, they literally became my family, and I knew that I only had a few months with them each year, so I really, really wanted to make the most of it. And then after my third year, I went up to Canada and was there for about 2 years after that.
My first summer I hung out with my camp friends for the first week, and we did really fun activities such as going to see Yale University and exploring up near Connecticut. After that I headed to DC where my friend lived. We stayed there and explored the US Capitol together, which was awesome. After DC I then flew and met my sister on the West Coast.
I travelled quite a bit after camp. I got the B1, B2 visa 2 out of the 3 summers I went to camp. I would always travel with camp friends after camp. We would travel around the US, we'd stay with camp friends, and then we also travelled to Canada.
So every summer after camp I would do some travelling, different groups of people that I'd met at camp that year or maybe the year previously. One of my favourite trips was a road trip to New Orleans, and we spent a few days there taking in the tourist sites, and then we drove up to Nashville and spent some time in Nashville. It was fantastic, I'll never forget it. Great memories are made with friends after camp. There is this great saying that camp friends are the best friends, and I would totally agree with that.
After camp in 2015, I travelled around with one of my friends who moved to Canada, so she came down and we travelled around. We did a little bit of the East Coast, so we did like New York, Atlantic City, we did Rhode Island, stuff like that as well, just for like, I think like 10 days. Like it wasn't heaps, but it was a nice little holiday, definitely a nice break after summer camp and before going home. In 2017, I was experienced, so I actually went back to camp with one of my camp friends who I met, through camp the first year in 2015. So we went back on our way to camp. We knew that camp was going to be pretty, it's obviously really hard work at camp, so we knew that going in this time. So we started off in Hawaii just to like chill out, get ourselves like zen and ready. We then headed to New York because we were pretty close to New York anyway, cheap flights from New York to camp as well. So we went Hawaii, then to New York, and then to camp. And then after the 2 months at camp, we travelled around for about a month and a half.
Unlike many participants on our programs, I actually didn't travel after camp. I came home and started working again in retail, and I was okay with that. There wasn't a lot of camp counsellors from my camp who travelled after camp. So what I did was I saved up my money, and then in 2017 I went back and visited the camp friends that I had made, and we did a big East Coast trip a big road trip, and we went all the way from Baltimore up to New York and around to New Jersey and all sorts of areas around there. So that was what I kind of call my after camp travel, even though it was a bit split up. And to this day, I still try and make plans to see my camp friends, because the people that you meet there are friends that you have for the rest of your life.